We've heard from Minister Balazs that we need some time to digest this issue. His reference to the Black Sea, which in many respects I think your president has done quite a bit to put the Black Sea on the agenda, and helping us think about the Black Sea not just as the edge of Europe, but now as a European body of water. You've got a record on trying to increase linkages between members of NATO and the EU to neighbors in the region. What is your take on this debate? Do we need time to digest? What's an effective strategy now for the countries around the Black Sea?
So I think, first of all, no doubt that Eastern Europe is important for Romania, and I think it's important, continues to be very important for NATO and EU. Ukraine is our neighbor, is important for us. The Republic of Moldova is our neighbor, important for us. Georgia, which is our neighbor on the other side of the Black Sea, important for us. All the countries in the region, you know, deserve a better future, and I think it's our job to help them as much as we can, as good as we can, yes, to, how to say, come closer to the West, and if it's possible, to take their, I think, well-deserved place in the West, either in EU or in NATO. On the other hand, I think if there is something to be digested, and I think this is also important to look at the enlargement of NATO and EU and to see how these two organizations work. But I think there is something else which also is important for us to be digested, and this is the new international situation. And my opinion is that starting with 2008, practically when it comes to the eastern part of the continent, we are in a new situation. And I would like to insist a little bit on the four important differences between the old situation and the new situation, because I think, as I said, starting with 2008, some parameters have changed. You know, in the last 20 years, dealing with Central Europe, dealing with Eastern Europe, we worked based on a matrix with four elements. And the four elements were the multilateral effort, the regional approach, the prosperity and especially the Western countries, I mean, US and Western Europe countries enjoy it, and also the fact that our efforts, you know, have been value-based. I think all these parameters, you know, today are under a process of change. And it's very clearly that if in the past we tried to deal with East Europe problems in a very multilateral way, and NATO and EU played very important roles, they continue to play important roles today. But I think that on the other hand, also nation states are growing as importance as influence, and I think it's not an accident that we have already on the table initiatives coming from nation states, very important initiatives, which I think are up to a point at least complementary with the multilateral initiatives, but they have been generated by nation states based on national interest. The reset button policy is one example. It's a policy, you know, how to say, designed first of all to respond to American interests in the world. Also, some European countries have also very interesting proposals focused on dealing with security issues in eastern part of the continent, you know. I think also very much influenced by national interest. So practically, I mean, if in the past the multilateral it was very important, today also the national state aspect, national interest aspect are very important. In the past, we, how to say, the idea of Eastern Europe has, the problems of Eastern Europe have been managed, having in mind a regional perspective. I think it's very important today to take in consideration the global perspective. And in my opinion, in the future, in the next years, will be very difficult to speak about security issues or economic issues in the eastern part of the continent losing the global perspective. And in my opinion, if you take, for instance, this very important equation of relations between West and Russia, we all want to see Russia as an important partner of the West, and I am a part of those who believe that there is a place for Russia in the West, and it's very much up on them to decide if they want to be part of the West or not. But I think this equation, which in the past it has been very clear, one West Russia or US Russia or EU Russia, I think today the equation is a little bit more complicated and larger, and I think also China is part of this equation. And in fact, we have all seen, you know, the discussions in the last few days, how important the global game is becoming, and the fact that I think many decisions, including those related with eastern part of the continent, will be very much influenced by the globalization. In the past, we have been lucky because, and I mean especially countries in Central Europe, because we have been assisted very much by the West, and West enjoyed very good years of prosperity. I think this is another difference today, an important one, because we are not anymore in era of prosperity. We are in recession. Some of the countries dealing better with the recession, some others not so well. But I think the fact that we don't have so much money for assistance, for big projects, for development as in the past, also will change the situation. And finally, we have our actions in the past have been very much based on promoting values. Democracy, human rights, economic development were important. I think more and more we are moving to a game where I think national interest, strategic interest will play a very important role. And some of our decisions in the future, I mean unilateral decisions or multilateral decisions, will very much be influenced by how we will consider that it is the case for us as countries or international organizations to promote our own interests. So I think that my opinion, to resume my intervention, is that we are in a new situation which is different than the previous one, and I think if there is something to be, accommodated with, is this new situation, which is the result of the globalization. Thank you.
Thanks, Iulian. You've put some issues on the table I want to come back to in our discussion.